When China helped negotiate a peace deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia in 2023, it hailed the breakthrough as a victory for Chinese diplomacy and a sign that America's chief geopolitical rival had emerged as a major power broker in the Middle East. But as President Trump openly ponders deploying American forces to join Israel in attacking Iran, the limits of China's clout in the region are coming into focus. China has much to lose from a runaway conflict. Half of the country's oil imports move in tankers through the Strait of Hormuz on Iran's southern coast, and Beijing has long counted on Tehran, its closest partner in the region, to push back against American influence. But despite those strategic interests, China, which has little sway over the Trump administration, is unlikely to come to Iran's defense militarily, especially if the United States gets involved. The reality is that China doesn't actually have the capacity to insert Chinese forces to defend Iran's installations. What China prefers to do is very quietly provide some material support, rhetorical support, and maybe some humanitarian aid. Though China favors stability in the Middle East, it could also gain if the United States gets roped into a prolonged war there, which might divert American troops, ships, and other military resources away from Asia. Whether Trump decides to strike Iran will offer lessons for Beijing that could shape its own geopolitical strategy. China will be trying to understand Trump's approach to foreign policy and his willingness to use force. The outcome would influence Beijing's assessment of whether the US will come to the defense of Taiwan, the self-governed island that Beijing claims, should China decide to invade it.
The vast majority of these staff and patients are lightly wounded from broken glass, falling ceilings, and other effects. They were all treated in our emergency department.
Despite China's close relationship with Iran, its rhetoric about the current conflict has been strikingly measured at the highest level. After its top leader Xi Jinping called for a ceasefire during a call with President Vladimir Putin of Russia on Thursday, a summary of the call released by the Chinese government did not overtly criticize Israel for violating Iran's sovereignty. Xi also refrained from directly urging the US not to attack Iran, saying only that the international community, especially major powers that have a special influence, should promote the cooling of the situation rather than the opposite. When China's top diplomat Wang Yi called a counterpart in Israel, he expressed Beijing's opposition to Israel's attack, according to Chinese summary of the call, but he stopped short of saying that China condemns them, as he had in the call with Iran. China's efforts, at least in public, have been focused on evacuating more than 1,000 of its citizens from Israel and Iran.